Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, data of millions of PhilHealth members potentially affected by the Medusa ransomware hacking. What should PhilHealth members do to secure their sensitive information following the cyber attack? Also, the National Privacy Commission issues a warning to those who will share the leaked data as a probe continues on who should be held liable in the massive data leak. Information Secretary Ivan Uy and PhilHealth Acting Vice President for Corporate Affairs Ray Baliana tells us more later in the program. With breaking news here on CNN Philippines, Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo confirms that 2 Filipinos have been killed in the escalating conflict between Israel and Palestinian militant group Hamas. In a social media post, he said, quote, "The Philippines condemns the killing of 2 Filipino nationals and all other acts of terrorism and violence as a result of Hamas actions against Israel." He added that the Philippine government will continue to provide all necessary assistance to Filipinos in Israel and Palestine. Again, breaking news, 2 Filipinos have been killed in the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. Stay tuned to CNN Philippines as we give more information on this and as soon as they become available to us. Let's move on to other news. A number of PhilHealth members likely affected by the Medusa ransomware attack may be in the millions. That's according to the Information and Communications Technology Department. The National Privacy Commission found that a staggering amount of files equivalent to more than 730 gigabytes of personal and sensitive data of PhilHealth members and employees has been leaked and now being shared online. It launched an investigation to determine the full scope of the breach and the possible negligence of officials that led to the cyber attack. Let's go straight to the source of the story. First off, we have Information and Communications Technology Secretary Ivan Uy. Secretary Uy, welcome to the source. Thank you so much for your time.
Good morning, Pinky.
All right, sir, let's start with this. Maybe you can tell us really how many members have been affected by this PhilHealth data breach?
Well, our investigation is still ongoing. What we've discovered so far is that the server that contains the members' data have not been compromised. So it's intact. There were no indications of any data exfiltration or penetration into the server of the members' database. However, based on the design of the system of PhilHealth, the workstations, meaning the computers that connect to the server, have to download members' data in order to be able to do transactions. So we've discovered that several workstations actually have been compromised, and so based on that information, we need to find out the scope, no? How many workstations have been compromised? What size of members' data in the workstations that have been downloaded have been exfiltrated, and that's where we will be able to assess how many members. But what we're seeing so far are just names, birth dates, and some personal information, but we cannot discern from that information whether they are employees of PhilHealth or members of PhilHealth. So those information we forward to PhilHealth for them to check their files to determine whether these are their employees or these are PhilHealth members.
So you have names, date of birth, and some personal information that the DICT has seen.
Yes, correct.
Breach.
We see it.
Opo. How many names are these, Secretary?
They're a lot, no? A lot. So far, we've seen several 100,000. We haven't really made actual count. we're trying to flesh out because many of the files are duplicates,
Right.
meaning some of the names are being mentioned in this file, and then if we total it in another file, their names pop up again, and in a third file again, no, those names. So a lot of duplication and triplication. So we need to filter all of those out in order to ascertain how many unique uh,
Names. Yeah.
identities actually are there. Otherwise, we might unduly bloat the numbers when those information are exactly the same ones that we are looking at.
But the DICT earlier said that information coming from the members' data could reach 1 million. So can we clarify that, Secretary? Because now basically you're saying hundreds of thousands and there could be duplications. What numbers can
Uh,
you tell us? Can you tell us right now in terms of those identities that have been stolen?
we cannot categorically say as of now because we're still conducting our investigation. So it could reach millions, depending on once we are able to filter many of the duplicate data. But as of now, it's still ongoing,
Okay.
and I think the basis for that was you know uh, at when we started looking at the files that were posted on the web, it's apparent that it's a huge amount of data, and if we're talking about 600 or 700 gigabytes of data, it will not be impossible that it contains millions of
I
records.
understand. Okay. Now, it's important, sir, that basically what you're saying somehow is in the same line as what PhilHealth was saying. Because in my past interviews with PhilHealth, they were saying that about 92 workstations, which is equivalent to about 92 computers, were infiltrated or were hacked. And then that's when I asked, dito po sa 92 computers na to, how many of them actually have access to members' information? And I was told that not all, no, there are certain levels wherein the employees are given access to members' data and information, which does make sense. Ano po. But what you're saying basically, to simplify it, is that in these 92 computers, for them to be able to, they are able to use these connect to the server that will download members' information. Did I get that right, Secretary Uy?
That's correct. In order for the workstations to, well, basically work, is that if somebody wants to transact with that office, they will need to go to the server and retrieve the members' data from the server,
Yeah.
download it to the workstations, and then assess that person transacting with the person in front of the workstation, and look at their files and look at their contributions and basically all information about the client.
But isn't it important to find out, Secretary, if these employees, because according to PhilHealth, the 92 workstations belong to 92 employees. They do not do shifting. In other words, it is 1:1 in terms of ratio. Is it important to find out exactly what kind of access the 92 employees have to be able to determine exactly what could have been hacked or breached?
That's correct, Pinky. And that's where the digital forensics comes in. Because the digital forensics team, which are the investigatory aspect, will have to come in, whether it's NBI or PNP, in order to assess the evidentiary electronic evidence, that they can gather from the reports that we have submitted to PhilHealth, as well as the internal investigation of PhilHealth, to determine culpability, to determine whether there were lapses actually on the part of any of those 92 workers, or is it a systemic flaw?
Right.
For instance, it was revealed and it was discovered that their antivirus and
Antivirus.
firewall, cybersecurity
Yeah,
systems, many of which expired since last April, and this was not procured or renewed.
yeah, yeah,
And the virus actually entered in June
yeah. About 2.5 months
during the
later. Yeah.
during the month when it expired.
Yeah, but that's the thing, sir. How much longer will it take for the NBI to be able to conduct its forensic? It will be the forensic investigation or examination, obviously into the computer, sir. I think I'd like to clarify what my question earlier. My question is, if there are 92 computers, there are 92 employees. I was talking about more so the capacity or capability of the 92 employees to be able to get into the server and download members' information. I only ask that, sir, because according to PhilHealth, not all these 92 employees would have access to members' information. Yun po yung sinasabi nila, sinabi po sa akin, and that's how I understood it. I say that, sir, just to clarify, because only those who may have access to members' information, dun lang po siguro na-hack ng Medusa, dun lang po nila nakuha yung mga identity ng mga, whether they're members of or employees, because those employees who have no access, Medusa would not be able to get much from them.
Well, basically what you're saying, Pinky, is that those are the weakest link, in the system, where those who have access to the server, to the members' data,
Yes.
are the ones that could have been the avenue for the penetration. But that will have to be determined by the cyber investigators, because we have seen other instances where people who were not authorized or were not given access to certain systems actually had access, because the person who had access shared with them the password or the credentials for them to access, dahil nag-sick leave yung tao,
I see.
nag-maternity leave at hindi makapag-report, so pinasa ngayon yung access credentials nila to one of their co-employees in order to go in. So we cannot rule out the fact that just because under their checklist, these people did not have access does not mean that they did not actually access the system.
All right. We have to talk about that antivirus system that expired sometime in April 15, but we need to take a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our source today, Information and Communications Technology Secretary Ivan Uy. Secretary, still have a lot of questions. I hope you don't mind. What information did the DICT see? And where? I know it's supposed to be in the dark web, even this app, Telegram. Or Telegram.
Telegram,
Yeah.
correct. That's Telegram. Yes, it's been posted on both, and we are actually looking at a lot of information. Basically, photos, identity cards, ID cards, not just PhilHealth ID cards or employees' ID cards, but ID cards issued by other government agencies, no? And then personally identifiable information. Name, age, birth date, gender, addresses, email, even including the name of the person that encoded the information to the system. So those were mostly the details that mobile phone numbers, of course, and so they're currently being posted on both platforms, Telegram and the dark web. But just a word of precaution, we've also discovered that those files that have been posted and those that are currently being shared by some people online actually themselves contain malware, contain malicious software that is designed that once you click on them or once you download them, it actually installs either a backdoor or a ransomware or other types of malicious software into your own computer system.
Wow. Okay.
So, word
Don't
of caution,
download it.
please do not download and do not click on those files of purporting to be PhilHealth members' files.
Purported to be PhilHealth. That's hard, Secretary. It's almost as if you're telling me that if I get any email or any link on my phone pretending to be somebody from PhilHealth, that I should not download it. Is that basically what you're saying?
No, no. What I'm saying is there are people who are sharing the hack, quote
Yes.
unquote, hack files. So the conversation goes like, or the text goes like this. Oh, do you want to know if your membership data has been hacked? Click on this link so that you can see
Opo.
the alleged hack information, no, of
Nako.
PhilHealth, and determine whether your data has been compromised or not.
Parang ang
So
Secretary,
people,
hirap. Kasi,
it's a bait. It's a bait.
yeah, because actually that's what I wanted to ask from you. How do we know if our information was compromised or hacked or stolen? See, I don't even know
Call
where to
PhilHealth.
go to check if my information was compromised as well.
You need to call PhilHealth, but as of now, I don't think PhilHealth themselves would also know because of the large amount of data that's out there,
Yeah.
and they themselves would not know.
Yeah, but Secretary, when you said that,
That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is.
yeah, that's bad because when you said, gusto mo ba malaman kung yung pangalan mo ay bahagi ng mga impormasyon na na-hack sa PhilHealth, pwede naman pong, let's say, it's an email, sir, for example, and it will disguise itself as a PhilHealth website. Hindi ho ba? Alam naman natin, minsan papalitan lang yung isang letra, o lalagyan ng dot, etc. And it
Or
might...
attached file. Or an attached file.
Yes. And
Yes.
it could be so easy for us to really click on that because we don't
Correct.
know the status of our information in PhilHealth.
Correct.
So basically,
That's how
that's
smart
why,
the cyber criminals are.
yeah, that's why I was saying, Secretary, kanina, pag meron silang matanggap na anything about PhilHealth for now, the advice is possibly really to ignore it for now.
Exactly. And that's really my advice po.
Kasi I was gonna ask you, Secretary, paano ko malalaman kung yung data ko or yung mga kasamahan ko dito, paano namin malalaman kung yung data namin ay parte dun sa na-compromise na, yung information namin ay parte dun sa information na na-hack, data na na-hack. So we don't know.
Exactly po. Nobody will know. Not even the agency concerned.
Wow. Okay. Still, the antivirus system.
Speechless. Vicky.
parang gano'n na nga po. Parang stay put.
Agas. No?
Don't
Agas.
do anything. Don't try. Because it's best that you don't move when it comes to anything about PhilHealth for the moment. And that's the thing, sir. Because some of their system is already up, hindi ho ba?
Opo.
So,
At we were also warning them bago po nila i-up yung system, yung mga butas po, yung mga vulnerabilities doon sa system na yun, dapat isara po nila, no? They have to plug those holes first before they up the system. Because if they up the system without plugging those holes, we'll have a PhilHealth data leak part 2.
do they need a go signal from the DICT, sir? Do they get experts? Do they get your advice that certain areas or systems will be up sa PhilHealth? Or do they do it on their own?
The agencies themselves do it on their own. We give them a warning. We tell them, hey, before you up your system, make sure that those vulnerabilities that we have pointed out to you when we did the investigation should be plugged. Now, we cannot stop them from putting it up unless we get a restraining order.
Yeah,
or something
but
from the
Secretary,
court.
some systems are already up, hindi ho ba? Are you saying that you're not in agreement that they did this?
Well, we need to check those systems, whether the holes are plugged or not. And uh, if there are still holes, I don't think I'm at liberty to tell you now, because that's going to, again, uh, expose, no, PhilHealth to more hacking.
All right. Again, a short break. We'll be right back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb, our source today. Secretary Ivan Uy. Secretary, okay, so timeline na lang po dito sa investigation. When do you expect to finish the investigation?
It's a huge amount of data, 600 to 700 gigabytes. So, given our limited resources, we actually would have to assign more people. Unfortunately, our people are also, overstretched, because we are also helping conduct investigation on the scammers using, all these mobile phones and text scams. So we're also, have several teams. So we're spread thin, and unfortunately, we really have to beef up our cybersecurity workforce and the instruments. Marami po mga equipment natin at saka mga software natin to do this, no? Our needs updating, and some of our subscriptions actually need to be renewed. Meron ko tayong mga mag-expire na po na mga cybersecurity at mga firewall systems early next year. So
And do you
if
have
we
the-
don't get the budget,
Do you have the money
if we
for
don't get the
this?
budget, we'll end up like PhilHealth. Expired yon, mahahack tayo, at ngayon magkakanda investigasyon na naman bakit nahack tayo.
So some of your firewall and security measures will expire next year. So basically, you're saying, Secretary, you don't have the funds to renew those subscriptions next year? Ganun ho ba yun?
No funds po. We have Congress have not allocated the funds for renewal. And not only that, as you probably know now, our confidential funds to launch this investigation, this intelligence gathering and threat analysis have also been reduced to zero. So it will really cut our capability of addressing all these cyber crimes and cyber threats.
Secretary, first off, I wanted to talk to you about that too, no? Because that just happened yesterday. Ito po yung pag-usapan lang natin quickly sa renewal for the to protect para po sa cyber security threats, no? How much money is needed next year for renewal of certain subscriptions?
We need about 600 po. 600 million.
And how long does that, is that for 1 year only? Let's say you renew, sir, is that yearly?
Yes. That's about, it's not just for renewals, no? We need to upgrade also equipment, and we need to continue with the training. The training and the certification for cybersecurity professionals are very expensive.
I can imagine, sir. So you need that. You need the money next year, amounting to 600 million.
At least. We started off with 1 billion. It was cut to 600 million. Now it's down to 300 million. And then
And you
our
need at least 600 million.
confidential fund that is used for investigation, for threat analysis, for have been cut from 300 million to zero.
Yeah, that happened yesterday, sir. But I believe they they transferred about 30 or 35 million for your MOOE.
25 million.
For MOOE.
That's just enough to pay for salaries.
What do you plan to do about this, Secretary? Appeal to the senators?
The fate of the nation's cybersecurity is in the hands of your lawmakers, in the hands of those who hold the purse. we can only do so much. It's like the armed forces. The armed forces go and fight, and if they're not given the proper equipment, the tanks, the planes, the choppers, the guns, the ammunition,
Yeah.
then just like us, we'll have to fight with tooth and nails.
That doesn't sound good, and that doesn't sound encouraging at all. Maybe you plan to appeal to the senator, sir.
We plan to appeal to the entire Congress to please please consider that today the threat is real. It's not a potential threat. That warfare today is not just physical. In fact, most of the warfare are now done online. Cyber war is a reality. It's increasing in sophistication. It's increasing in scale, and
Right.
the threats to our infrastructure is serious.
Okay. And right now,
Uh,
Secretary, you have a budget, proposed budget next year of 300 million.
for cybersecurity, from 1 billion cut down to 300 million.
All right.
So, that's really sad.
All right. Dinadaan nyo na lang ata sa tawa, Secretary Ivan Uy. Sir,
Wala ko tayong magagawa eh.
Sir, thank you so much for your time. I hope to speak to you again. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Thank you, Pinky.
And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.